In this video, we are going to be looking at Virtual Private Network or VPN. AWS Virtual Private Network, or which we simply call AWS VPN, allows you to establish a secure private tunnel or connection from your network or from your device to the AWS global network. And basically, AWS VPN comprises of two services. We have the site-to-site VPN. We have the site-to-site VPN. Okay, we have the site-to-site VPN, and we have the AWS Client VPN. We have the AWS Client VPN. Okay, so the site-to-site VPN, just as the name implies, allow you to securely connect your, let's say, on-premises network, or let's say a network of your branch office to an Amazon VPC, an Amazon private cloud. That is what a site-to-site VPN does. While AWS Client VPN enable you to securely connect the AWS or on-premise network to your device or your user. And in this case, all you wanted to achieve is to create a secure connection so that your network on AWS can be securely accessed by users from either another corporate office or a user working from from anywhere. So in this demonstration, we are going to be looking at the client VPN, where you have a user, let's say a user who is working remotely and needed to, this user needed to, maybe needed to access a server here, because if you look at the network here, we have our AWS account and we have our private VPC. Inside our, we have our VPC, and inside our VPC, we have our private subnet. So any instances or server that is created inside this VPC will not have a public IP because this is a private VPC. And so it means that nobody will be able to access this server through public internet. So what we want to do now is to create a secure connection from the from your AWS network all the way to what? All the way to the external user. Okay, we are going to create a secure tunnel. Okay, let me make these two lines here. So there will be a secure tunnel that will, that will move. I would like to use a green line to show that it's secured. Okay, I want to use a green line. So we want to do a secure tunnel all the way from your AWS down to the user. So this is a secure tunnel. This tunnel is secure. Okay. And what are the components that is needed? We are going to need a client VPN on the AWS side. After we must have set up our, our VPC. Then we need a VPN client on the AWS cloud side. And we also need a VPN client on the user's VPC. And this is the VPN connection here. Okay, this is the VPN connection. This is the VPN connection that will connect your on-site, your remote user to the AWS cloud. Then for us to do this, we need something that we call certificate. Okay, we need something called certificate. This certificate is the one that will carry out user authentication. Okay, it will authenticate this user to confirm that this user is whom they claim to be before they will allow them to what? To have access to this server. And um, for us to create this certificate, this certificate is going to be managed by something we call Certificate Manager, also on AWS. So when we create this certificate, then this certificate is going to be managed by a certificate manager also in AWS. Is this certificate manager? So whenever this user attempts to connect to this server, then this certificate manager will produce this certificate, and this certificate will authenticate this user and confirm that, oh, this user is actually the person they claim to be, and they will give them they will give them access to this server. And how would they give them to access to this server? There's a range of private IP address that are available to this server. In that case, one of these private IP, one of these private IP will be made available. One of these private IP will be made available to this laptop. And with that, the laptop will be able to access the the server securely without using the public IP address. So this is what we are going to be doing in this demonstration. And so the first thing I have done here is that I've set up this VPC. Okay, I've set up the private virtual private cloud, and inside it, I have set up a private server, my database server here, which is in the private zone. And so what we are going to start with in our demonstration is to start with every other component like the VPC client, the VPC connection, and we are going to see how we will be able to, to actualize or implement this demonstration. Now, let me show you what I have created so far. So this is my AWS cloud. Inside it, I've created a VPC. Okay, I've created a VPC called corporate VPC. And in this corporate VPC, if you look at it, if you look at my corporate VPC, I've given it a CIDR range of 12.0.0/16. Okay, and that CIDR range, inside it, I have created a subnet, and I call that subnet corporate subnet. And that subnet, I also give it a CIDR. Let me click on that subnet. I also give it a CIDR range. Where can I see that? Okay, okay, there's a CIDR here. I can see it maybe in my network. I'm just trying to see what CIDR I gave to my VPC. I hope I can see it. Okay, this right here. So I give it a CIDR, a subnet inside that. So, and inside this, I also created a route table, and you can see my route table right here has no route to internet gateway because a route has been created. And if you look at it, there is no route to, there's no path to route table inside the subnet. Because if I come here, this is my subnet, and this is the route table to my subnet. You can see it is only to the local. There's no path that directed traffic to the internet gateway because this is a private subnet. So, and I went ahead to create my EC2 instance, which is my database server. And this is my database server that is running. This is my database server that is running inside. You can see this is the database server. It has no public IP. We only have a private IP because it is running in a private subnet. And I have a security group. Okay, and this is my security group here that only allow SSH into port 22 and also permitted ICMP so that we'll be able to what? We'll be able to ping. So this is the setup so far. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to create our VPN. And the first thing we want to do is to create AWS client or AWS VPN client. So we are going to take each component, the component of this demo, one after the other. So the first thing we are going to be looking at is the AWS Client VPN. And the first component that we are going to be creating is the Client VPN endpoint. So if you go to the VPC tab, and if you scroll down to under VPN, Virtual Private Network, right here, you are going to see Client VPN endpoint. So if you click on it, so we're going to create one. So you click on Create Client VPN, and we are going to provide the necessary information. But before we provide all this information, let's try to see some of the important requirements here. Under authentication method, like I mentioned, you can choose to, we will be choosing the certificate method, but you can do the directory method, the Active Directory method, by providing username and password, which is the user-based authentication. But in this case, we are going to be using the certificate-based. So that means at this point, we are going to need to upload a certificate, like I mentioned in my description, that there's going to be a certificate that will authenticate the device and the user that will be using the VPN to access the AWS global network. So before we can proceed with this, there will be need for us to create a certificate. So we are going to hold on the client VPN endpoint, and we'll first go and generate the certificate. Now, to do this, I have a step-by-step approach that I've made available here. I'm also going to make that available in the description section so that if you want to follow through. So the first thing we are going to do here now, we are going to use a particular tool called EasyRSA. It's a free tool that you can use to generate a free certificate, a free private certificate. So we are going to go to this link. I'm going to copy it. So we're going to follow all these steps to generate the certificate and make it available. So we're going to copy this link, this address, and we are going to download our EasyRSA tool. So I will go to a different tab. I've copied the address and I'm going to click on it. And it's going to take us to this VPN repo, this GitHub repo. We are going to see this. These are all the releases of this EasyRSA tool. So the first one we are going to be we are going to be going for the latest one, which is EasyRSA 3.17, and I'm going to click on it to download it. Now it has been downloaded, so I'm going to head over to my File Explorer. I'm going to go to my download folder, and this is the tool here. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this tool. So I'll right click and I will extract here right in the download folder. I'm going to click on extract. Now that the folder has been extracted, then if we go into the folder, let us see what we have. So these are all the files that are contained in that folder. Now we are going to look for a particular file called batch file. You can see it is right here. It is a window batch file, which this one, and we are going to run it, and it is there that we are going to follow through to generate our certificate. So this batch file that says start.bath, we are going to right click on it and run it as an administrator. So I'll go ahead and run it, and I will click on run, click on yes, and this is going to open up for us to run the batch file. So where is it open? I'm trying to get where it is opened. So before I proceed, for this file, for easy access to this file, I'm going to do something. I'm going to rename this file to, let's say, let's just rename it to EasyRSA. Okay, let's remove all of that in there. Let's rename it EasyRSA. You can see it's inside this folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to under download for easy access so that we just get it under easy access. So I'm going to grab the file and I'm going to move it to download. I think that would be easy. So I move it to download. So if I click on download now, it's going to be here directly. You understand? So that anytime we just come under download, we can easily access it. So I'm going to open the file again and I'm going to run the batch file. Okay. The batch file is to start the window batch operation. So just right click on it or just double click on it and it's going to open this window for you. So then we can now begin the step by step to generate the certificate that will authenticate our device from where we want to VPN into the AWS cloud. And so each time we are going to fall back to this step by step, you know, guide that I've put here, which will help us to generate the certificate. Now that we have the window batch file running, and like I said, we are going to be running a couple of commands from this step-by-step approach. Now let me change this to a dark mode so that it will be, you know, more visible. So I'll just go to setting, preference. I think this is the where. Okay, dark mode. Change it to dark mode. Okay, I think it's a little bit clearer now. So now that we have this running, so we are going to run this command. If you look at it, in case if you are following it, I said command for EasyRSA to create server and claim certificate. So like I said, on the client VPN endpoint that we wanted to create on AWS, we need certain information to create that. So this command here, this four command here will help us to what? To generate those credentials. So we are going to run each of these commands from the batch file terminal, the window batch terminal from here. So we'll be copying each of them and we are going to run it. So I'm going to expand this and I will hold over to my here call. I'll copy the first command. Okay, of course, first command, go to my terminal and paste it. And I'll click enter. And what that first command is going to do is it's going to initiate PKI. Okay, let me try to zoom out a little bit so I can see it. Okay, so it's going to what? Generate PKI. PKI is public key infrastructure. So it's going to generate it. So, and the command is complete. So we can go ahead and run the second command. So I will go back to my notepad and copy the second command. The second command is to generate the certificate. It's going to build CA. CA is certificate authority. So it's going to generate the certificate. So I will click enter. As you can see, it is opening configuration file exists. It's going to generate the certificate. Okay, that's it. Say you're about to be asked to enter a name. So if you want to have a name, you can put a name here, but I'll just go with the default by clicking enter and it will generate it. You can see CA creation complete. So a new certificate is at. So it's giving us the path on our file explorer where we can see this certificate. We are going to see all of that. So a certificate authority has been generated. So we'll go back to our notepad. We'll copy the third command. And the third command is going to generate the credential for the server. So I will go back here. I will paste it. I'll click on enter. And so it's going to go ahead and generate it. Here it's going to ask me for a prompt to put in. You can see it's a private key file created. And it said to type the word yes to continue. So I'll type yes. To continue, I'll click enter. You can see a certificate is also created for the server. And so I'll go ahead now. And of course, you can see it also shows us how to find those certificates. So I'll also go ahead and copy the last command, which is this. I'll copy that and I'll head over to my terminal. I'm also going to paste that here. Oh, sorry, I think that's the wrong one. I must have copied the wrong command. I will go back to my notepad and I will copy the last command, Control C, then head over to my terminal and I'll paste it and I'll click enter. So this is going to create that of the client. Okay. So we have created this certificate authority, the server certificate, and now you want to create that of. So I'm going to type yes here too, and now we are going to create that of the client. You can see it here. We're going to create that of the client, and that is also created right here. So this is completed, and now we can go ahead and check our file to see where this thing are being created. So I'm going to minimize this too, and I'm going to head over to my download folder. Inside my download folder, don't forget, if you see from here, it has told us to go into PKI folder. If you see from here, let's take this for example. It says we should go into download, I'm talking about this now. It says we should go into download, into EasyRSA, and into PKI. That is where we are going to see. So inside PKI, we go to issued. Why for this one? That is for this. Why for this one? Inside PKI, we go to inline. Why for other one? We have the different parts. So I'm going to go back here. Inside download, I will go to EasyRSA, I think. And inside EasyRSA, I will go into PKI. So inside PKI, you can see we have the certificate here. Okay. That is the certificate for security certificate. And after that, we are going to see other things inside the issued and inside private. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another file, another folder, and I'm going to call that folder VPN credential. I'll call it VPN creds. Okay. Inside this, I'm going to keep all the important folders. So the first thing, I'm going to copy my certificate and put it inside here. Okay. So if I click here now, I have the certificate, which is the CA authority, Then I'm going to go into issued. You can see I have two more certificates there, and these are our certificate authority. So I'm going to copy the two of them. I'm going to click on copy, and I'm going to take it back to my VPN cred. Where is it? This right here, and I'm going to paste it. Okay. So I will go back to PKI. I will go into private. I have two other certificates there. I already have this. So I'm just copy. Don't forget I already have the CA. So I'll just copy this one, and this one. I'll just copy it. We already have the CA, so we don't have to copy that again. So we come back here, go into VPN cred, and we'll paste that as well. So now these are the five information that I need, or credential that I need to create my certificate, to create my VPN client. So I have these are the keys. This is the client key, this is the server key, and here this is the server certificate, and this is the client certificate, and we have the certificate authority here. So they are all in VPN. Oh, sorry, this is VPN, not VPV. Okay, I'll just rename it. This is VPN. VPN. Okay, this is VPN. So it is inside the VPN cred. So the next thing now, we are going to head over to our AWS console, and we'll try to create our VPN client. So now we are in the client VPN endpoint, where we are going to make use of those certificate or VPN credential that we have just created. But before we can make use of this credential here, we need to upload those certificates into the AWS platform. And where do we do that? We'll upload it into something we call ACM, AWS Certificate Manager. It is the AWS Certificate Manager that manages certificates and will make it available to any other services that want to use it. So here I'm going to go into my console and look for ACM, which is here, Certificate Manager. I'm going to open it in another tab. Okay. And I'm going to add, upload, or import those certificates that I've created into this certificate manager. Okay, I already have some certificates here which are generated for my DNS. So, but here I'm going to be importing some certificates. So I will click on import certificate. And before I do that, I will go back to my certificate PKR file. This is where the certificates are opened. I will click on VPN cred. And the first one I'm going to be doing is I'll be talking about the to upload the certificate, and after that, I'll upload the certificate for the client, and after that, I'll upload for the server. So don't forget, this is client certificate, client key. This is client certificate, client key, and this is server certificate and server key. And we have the certificate authority, which is common to the both of them. So the first thing here, I'm going to open this. Okay. Where is it opened? Mm, 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 mm. I'm going to open this. Okay, let me just I'll open this with Notepad. Let me open with Notepad++. Okay, this is the first one. I'll also open this with Notepad++. That's the second one. And I'm going to open the Certificate Authority 2 with Notepad++. That is the third one. So if you look right up here, it's showing the name of what I'm opening. You can see here, this is the certificate authority, this is the client key, and this is the client certificate. So the first thing here is if you go back to your AWS console, so the first thing here is the certificate body, which is the certificate, which is the client certificate, this one here. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to copy everything here. You can see with no space at the back. I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to take it here. I'm going to paste. Make sure there's no space at the back. So I'm going to do it, no space at the back. Then the next thing is to copy the certificate key. I will go back to my Note Plus. This is the certificate key. I will also copy that. Make sure there's no space at the back. Okay, make sure there's no space at the back. I will also copy that and take it to my certificate key right here. Make sure there's no space at the back. And the final one is the certificate authority. I'll go back to my Notepad++. This is the certificate authority here. I will also copy it and head back here and I'll paste it. I'll make sure there's no space at the back. And now that everything is pasted, I'll click on import certificate. So if you go back now to our certificate, you will see that a new certificate has been imported called client domain. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and import the second one, which is I've done that of the client, so I will do that of the server. So I'll click on import again. I will close down all these that I've opened before. I will leave the certificate authority because that is common to them, but I will close that of client and I will close that of client key and client certificate. I will head over to my Explorer and I will open that of server certificate. I will open with Notepad++. and I'll also open the server key, Notepad++. So the first thing I need is the certificate body, which is this. I will copy, Control A, Control C, and take it to my certificate body here. I'll make sure there's no space at the back. Then I will go and copy the key. Head over to Node+. This is the key. I'll right click and copy again, put it here, make sure there's no space at the back. Then I'll copy the certificate authority. I'll come here, click on certificate authority, and I'll do Control A, Control C. I will now paste here and ensure there's no space at the back. So this is also copied, and I can also click on import. So if you go back to certificate, you'll see now that we have two certificates that have been imported and they are all issued. One for the server, one is for what? The client. Now we can head over to our client VPN portal called console and create the client VPN. So I will switch over to my VPN client console, and we are going to go ahead and configure our VPN client. So the first one is we need a name for the VPN client. Even though it's optional, I would like to add it. So I'll just call it I'll call it remote users connection. Okay, because I want this connection is designed for people who are working remotely. And then the description is optional. If you like, you can still put the same there. You can say VPN for VPN for remote connection. Okay. When you choose dual stack, you are invariably telling your VPN to allow both IP4 and IP6. But since we did not actually assign IPv6 side up to the VPC, so I will suggest to you, I will just go ahead with IPv4 in this case. So let's reconfigure our VPN client. So I'll still use remote user connection. You can call it any name. So, and I will call it VPN for remote user. So before now I went with dual stack. So this time I'm going to just go with IPv4 in both cases. And here, since my VPC has the CIDR of my VPC has a CIDR of 12.0.0/16. If you look at it here, this is the CIDR for my VPC. So I'm going to be using any other private network IP that does not overlap with this. So I will just go here and I will use 10.0.0.0/ the number has to be between look at what is stated here, between 12 and 22. So I will just say /22 so that I can get the list IP. I think that will be fine. So here I will choose for the server certificate, I will choose server, and I will use mutual authentication and choose that of the client. I will leave connection login as it is. The DNS configuration is optional. Like I told you, if you have a DNS on your network, you might need to provide a DNS address here. I'm not providing any one. I'm going to be using TCP, and the VPC ID is my corporate VPC. And then I'll keep this as 24-hour session timeout, and I'll go ahead and create client endpoint. So the endpoint is created, and I said that after the endpoint has been created, two things need to be done. We need to work on the target association, and we need to work on the authorization rule. So let's first go with target association, and then we are going to click on associate target, and our VPC is the corporate VPC, and our subnet is the only subnet that we have. I will click on associate, and you can see if you go back to your configuration and you click on target network, you can see the target network associate is being associated. So the next thing now is to go and check the authorization rule. Now, before we look at the authorization rule, which is this, let us go into the target network association. You can see that it's been created now here, and it shows that this target network is being associated with this subnet. And if you look at the route table, look at that's a route that's been created forwarded to that route table. Okay, so if I click on this route table, you can see that the IP address assigned to this is this. This is the pool of the address from where your DB server, that is your EC2 instance, it is where it's going to pull its IP. You understand what I mean now? The IP address is going to be pulled from this pool of address. So what we need to do now is we need to allow VPN to accept IP address from this part. So let's copy this part. Let's copy this pool of address, and we'll head over to our authorization rule. But before we go that, let me quickly show you. This is the range of the address, 12.0.1.0/24. If you head over to your EC2 dashboard and you click on your EC2 instance and you click on the server, you can see the IP address here. So the IP address of your server is being pulled from that range of IP address. So we head back here, we copy this subnet cyber CIDR, then we'll head over to our VPN endpoint client. Where is it here? Where's our VPN? VPN. Okay, this is our VPN here. So we go to VPN endpoint. We click on it as usual, and we'll go to authorization rule. In the authorization rule, we will click on create authorization rule. And from what destination? That is the IP that I just copied. Okay, so you are saying that the VPN user should accept IP from this range, and it's asking us grant access to who? To all, allow access to all user. All the user of the VPN should be given access. So description is VPN user access. Then you can create authorization. So the authorization has been created, which is here. So this is all we need to do on the client VPN, endpoint side. So when that is done, we expect that our VPN should be available. And you can see it right from here. You can see our VPN connection is what? Available. And you can see it's applied here. So if you go to the target association, you can see it's also available. And the authorization rule is also active. So now every configuration that we need to do on the client VPN point is now completed. So now we are going to move to the other aspect. However, before we do that, we'll try to see what is happening with our EZ2 machine. Let us try to see if we can connect at this stage. So now that the client VPN is ready, let's head over to our EZ2 machine. Okay, now let's attempt to connect to this. So if we click on connect and we use SSH client, it has suggested to us here the connection command. So I will copy that. I'll head over to my terminal. I will open an Ubuntu terminal here and I will try to connect. So I will clear the screen and I will paste that command and I click on enter and it's saying, okay, warning, you're trying to add this, but you can see it's not progressing. Yeah, it won't be able to connect, even though we can make the key available. If you look at it, if you go back to your machine, if I go back to my console and I go onto my EC2 instance, you will see that the key pair that is used here is my default key pair. That is the key pair assigned to the machine at the point of creation. And you can see it is the same key pair that I'm using here. Okay, let's try to modify the command. I'm going to cancel it. I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to go with, you can see the keys available. Let me show you. If I cd into .ssh and I click on enter and I click on LL, you can see that is the key, my default key. So the key is available here. So I will cd out, I will clear the screen and I will do SSH -I, then .ssh, my key pair, then what is the IP? What is the IP? The IP is okay. This I will copy it, and don't forget the username is Ubuntu. Okay, the username should be Ubuntu. You can see it. So I'll head over to my terminal, and I will do Ubuntu at the IP address, and I'll click enter. And you can see there's no attempt to connect because this is a private IP that does not have a pathway to the internet. And that is sure from if I go into my, let me cancel this. Let me clear the screen and let me write the command route print. Okay, let me do that on the terminal here. I prefer PowerShell. Okay, let me try it here. Let me do route print. Okay, if you look at this, this is like the route table on my local machine. If you look at it, the IP4 route table, there is no path to this IP. You know, the IP address here, this IP address, sorry. Yeah, this IP address here, 12.0.1.59, does not have a path. Does not have a path here. So any attempt to connect here will be bounced back. So that is what we want to achieve now. We want to create a route through the VPN to connect. So if the VPN is available, you will see, we are going to see the IP range. Bear in mind what is the IP. The IP is 12.0.1.59. So we are going to see an IP in this range available on this part. So let's bear that in mind. If you look through now, there's no any path to that IP. Okay, so now let's head back to our settings and we'll go back to our VPN configuration. Now you can see that everything is now active. Like I show you, the VPN is active, the remote connection is active, the authorization rule is active, and the target network is also associated. Now, if you look right up here, you can see a tab here that says download client configuration. So the file that is available here, it is the configuration that the VPN is providing to the local machine so that to give it the authorization to connect. So we're going to click on this download client configuration, download. So the client configuration has been downloaded. You can see it right here. So I'm going to head over to my file explorer. Okay, I'm going to click on download, and that is the file. I'm just going to copy that same file. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it together with our VPN credentials. So I will click here, and then this is our VPN credential. Where is it? I think it's somewhere. I think it's inside. Let me check if it's inside here. Yeah, it's inside here. It's inside the PKI folder. So I will click VPN credential, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so I've pasted that here. Now, we are going to make this configuration file, we are going to make it available to the device that wanted to connect to the VPN. Now, before we do that, we need to modify the content of that file. So I'm going to go ahead now and open this file with Node+. So this is the file here. So we need to modify it. And I'm going to head back to my guide. This is my guide right here. And I will just click here. And in one of the steps, I said open the .ovpn file. That is the file you see here. You can see it. You can see the dot. So, and we are going to add this content. You can see we are going to add these two statements. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to enter here, and I'm going to go to the last line here. I'm going to tab down, and I'm going to add it. So I've added these two statements, this one and the other one. And what do we want to do with that? In the certificate, we are going to, you can see, paste the client certificate body. So I'm going to add the client certificate body here, and I'm going to add the client certificate key here between these two statements. So now I will head over to my client credential. So I will open here. Don't forget, this is my client credential, this is the client body, and this is the client key. So I'm going to open this with Notepad++, and I'm also going to open the key with Notepad++. So the first one is the body. I will click on the body. This is the body right here. Okay. We are going to copy it without any space. So I will click Control C. I will copy the body, and I will take it to the .ovpn, and this is where we have the body. You can see it. I'm going to remove it, the client body. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to paste. Okay, now I've pasted it, and look at it, there must be no space here, so I'm going to backspace. You can see it. This is the last line. I'm going to do the same for the client key. This is the client key here. I'm going to copy the client key, no space. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to head over to the same file. This is where I have the client key. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to paste. And if you look at it, there's no space at the back. And I'll go ahead and save. I'll just do Control S to save. I'll do Control S to save. So I can go back. So I'm going to close it and reopen it so that we'll be sure that whatever we have updated is there. So I'm going to I'm going to close all this. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close that file as well. Then I'm going to head over to and I'm going to open again. This time I want to open with just Notepad. I want to also see if the content is there. So you can see, I think we have it. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure that is what I open. Okay, that's not what I open. This is it here. I will do this, open it. Yes, and I think here we are fine. The update is fine. So we just go ahead and be fine with it. Okay, so we are good. So let us head over to our work. Now that everything is available here, the next thing we need to do now, so just to recap, we have gotten every configuration on the client VPN endpoint set. Every other thing is active. We've downloaded the authentication client configuration and the file is available. So all we need to do now is to download the client. If you remember on the when we started the diagram, I think I showed you something. I hope I can see it. Yeah, from here, I told you that we also need this VPN client. Okay, we need this VPN client on this one in black. We need this VPN client on your local device, on your laptop. It is this VPN client from where you are going to initiate the connection. So we need to install this VPN client on our local machine. So we are going to head over to browser and download the VPN client. So I'll call it AWS VPN Client download. Okay. So I think we can get it from here. Let's click on here. Okay. So let's click on this website. So it's giving us options for depending on the type of device that you have, either Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. In my own case, it is Windows. So I will click on download Windows. So the file has been downloaded. So I will head over to my browser. I will click on download, and then where is the file? I think the file is okay. This is the file right here. So I'm going to go ahead and install. I'll double click on it. So you can see this is VPN client license. I will accept and I will install, and I will click on install. So let's give it a few seconds for the installation to complete. The installation is complete and I'll click on finish. So I will close this and I will go back to my console. Now I have my RS token installed, so I can easily um, launch it. Let me call it AWS client is right here. I'm going to select it. Okay, let's wait for it to come. So this is it now. Okay, because this is what I've tested before. So if you click on disconnect, it's not going to work. So I'll click on file and I'll click on manage profile. Okay, I think I can make it bigger. Let me see, I'm not sure. Okay, it's not being big. So I will click on file, click on manage profile, and this is the one I've tested before. So I'm going to remove it. I'll delete profile and I'll add a new profile. And what is the name of the profile? I will call it corporate corporate VPN. And we need the VPN configuration file. And that is the file that we are downloaded. That is the file here, this file here. Okay. This file that is being given to us, download client configuration. That is the file that is required here. So I'm going to click on browse. And then we're going to navigate to where the file is. It's inside download, inside EasyRSA, PKI, VPN create, and this is the file. I will select it and I'll upload it. So the file has been uploaded and I will click on Add Profile. So I've clicked on Add Profile. Now the profile has been added. And now let me show you something before we try to connect. And then we'll look at what we call the, so now I can just say done. It is done now. And can see this is my new connection. Before we see the moment of truth, let me take you back to the terminal and show you once again. In this part, you can see there is no room. Let me try to zoom out maybe. If you look at it, there's no path to my IP because even if I do, let me clear the screen or let me just open another tab. I will duplicate this. Let me do ipconfig. If I do ipconfig, you can see in my connection, there is no path. This is my local IP here. Okay. And if you look at this is the IP address that my machine is currently having. There's no path to that, to the IP address of our EC2 machine. Don't forget, our EC2 machine has an IP in the range. If I come here, this is the range, this is the correct IP now, okay, to which we want to connect. And if you come back here, if you look through all of these, we cannot see a path to it. Okay, we can't see a path to that. So let's go ahead and try to connect now. So I will go back here. I will click on connect. Let us see if we'll be lucky. So it's connecting. You know, it's a lot of configuration, and sometimes you could run into some errors and all that. So let's see. Okay, it's still there. It's still rolling. Okay, you can see now it is what connected. You can see it. It is what connected. Copy VPN is connected. And then if I go back now to my terminal, let's go back to my terminal. I'm going to clear the screen. Okay. I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to do ipconfig again. ipconfig. If you look at it here, I'm trying to show you something. You can see it from here. It says on AWS Client VPN tab, and you can see the IP. Look at that IP. You should see the IP address now is what? 10.0.0.34. That is the IP that is pulled. And if we come back here, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to do IP route again, print. Now come back here, you will see something. You will see something from our, okay, you can see now 10.0.0.34 on this IP part. You can see we didn't have all of this before. Now a path has been provided to us to connect into it. If you look at these two, a path has been provided to connect to that machine, and this is the IP address here. So if I go now to my EC2 machine, remember before I'm unable to connect. Now I want to try to connect. If I click enter, you can see now it's giving me room to connect. And if I type yes, and you can see it, boom, I'm inside my Ubuntu machine. I can clear this, and you can say from here, if I do if config, you will see this is the user, this is the new machine there. If I want to know the IP address, look at it here. If I say if config, sorry, if I say call if config.me, call if config.me, Yeah, this is supposed to bring, oh, sorry, because this cannot go into the internet. So it's supposed to give us the IP of that machine. So what I'm saying is now we are able to connect into our machine using the VPN. You can see this is the VPN here is connected. And if I look at my, if you look at my internet at the back here, you can see it's showing that I'm connected. It's showing that I'm connected to a VPN. Okay, let me click here and let me over on it. If you sit down, you can see I have an internet and I have AWS Client VPN type window. You can see it right underneath here. So this is how to set up VPN between your local machine and the AWS network. You can see it from here that even though it's a very long video, you can see the step-by-step um, guide that we use to establish a VPN connection between my local device into AWS network. So this is a very long video. Thank you for um, spending your time to watch along with me. I appreciate your patience. So I'm going to put necessary information in the description of this video. I'm going to add the configuration file. I'm going to add the step-by-step approach and every other thing that is needed for you to be able to carry out this demonstration. This is very important. This is very apt, and it will be very good for you to try it. So if I go ahead now and I click disconnect, just watch what happens. If this is my, you can see this is my um, my Ubuntu. Let me clear the screen. Okay. If I clear it and I clear the screen, okay. If I disconnect, I'll just go ahead now and disconnect the VPN, and you will see that this also will be disconnected. So I will come here now and I will disconnect. Before I do that, if I check who is connected, it will show me. If I come here and I say, "Ooh, I think you should do it." Who is okay? Ooh, okay. You can see now that Ubuntu is what connected. Let's assume I create another user. Um, let's clear the screen. Let me create a user here. Let me use sudo user add, and I say Felix. User add Felix. Okay, I've added user Felix. Let me switch to Felix. Sudo su Felix. Okay, now I've switched to Felix. So if I do you can see Ubuntu is still signing. So I don't want to go through the stress of creating password and all that. What I just want to show you now is if I go ahead now and disconnect this, let's see. If I click on disconnect, it's disconnecting. You will see now that this is going to be lost. So if I say sudo here, you can see now I'm unable to type again. I'm unable to type. You can see I've lost connection. I'm typing now, but anything's not working again just because I have disconnected. You can see now it's what? Not connected. It's disconnected. And I can click again. Let me come back here again. I can't do anything. Okay. So I can come back and let me try to connect again. And let us see if it can reconnect or we need to open another part. It's connecting. And when it is connected, it's going to go under the connected tab. It's still holding. Now it's connected. I'm not sure if I am able to do something. Okay. I'm just going to open another tab, and I will try to connect again. Um, this is not it. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, this is not it. I'll just try another one. SSH. Let me just go to here, and I'll click on connect. Let me copy. Okay, no, that's not it. And I'll copy this, and I will go to my terminal. I want to try something. I'll put this here, and I'll click connect. Okay, okay, the public key here is connect. I'll clear the screen. And I will do SSH -I, okay, dot SSH, my key pair, then Ubuntu. The other time I created Felix, let me try. I think it's going to ask me for password because I did not have password to, this is the instance. Let me copy the private ID. Oh, start check, what happened? I don't know what happened here. Fail. Okay, I think I understand what happened. There's no auto apply IP. Okay, that's fine. Because it's a private one, let me put this here and let me try to connect. Okay, because Felix cannot log in, I see. Let me try Ubuntu. I want to try Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Yes, you can see now we are able to log in with Ubuntu, which is the user. So I'm going to go ahead again and disconnect. I'll go ahead and disconnect. Now it's disconnected. And if I do enter here, you can see now I've lost connection. So this is how a VPN work, and all the connection are what? Intact. Let me check something. So detail, I will connect again. And I just want us to see what information we have under this connection tab. Maybe we can get some information there. I hope this can be expanded, but it's not. Okay, still connecting. Now it's connected. Let's look at connection, show details, VPN corporate. Okay, you can see the byte is flowing. You can see the update. They give us the date of connection, the authorization, and all that. So there's not much to see from here. So this is fine. And if you need any help, you want to update, this is where you can find it. Thank you so much for following me. Please, if you like this video, kindly subscribe, comment, and ask any of your questions, and I'll do my best to respond as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another video. Peace.